Hey, my name's Alina. Welcome to the Unraveled Podcast.
And my name is Nina. And today, I think we're going to talk about friendships.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about more particular, like finding the right friends to invest in and who friends that could be good for you. I know throughout my 25 years of life, I've had a lot of change in friendships. I've had a lot of different friends. And one of the biggest things that I felt like played a huge role in picking my friendships was convenience. I think when you're kind of growing up and you're in school, friendships are convenient because you're in the same place, you're in the same area, and it's easier to have friendships when you're younger and create friendships because you're in the same you're under the same roof.
Yeah.
I feel like when people say to you, like when you grow up and you go to college, most of the time your friends in college are going to be like your lifelong friends. The friends you've had before college probably you're not going to have relationships with them anymore. And for me, that was literally true. I didn't go to college, but the friends that I had in high school that I, hung out with in my early 20s, those friendships dissolved, mostly because I feel like we either grew apart or actually mostly because they didn't respect the boundaries that I was trying to set. I had been through a relationship and then I came back out of the relationship and came back out a whole different person, a person who set boundaries, a person who wanted meaningful relationships with a boyfriend or friendships or whatever. And I felt like those friends couldn't respect the new person that I was becoming. And it was very difficult at that time for me to be like, oh, I'm okay with losing them, because you have to have that mindset that you're okay with losing these people. And at that point in my life, I was very okay with losing them.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, I mean, no, it's just kind of sharing your experience because it is so true. Sometimes there's going to be people that you think they're going to be in your life forever, or they're going to be your best friend or good friend forever. And whether it's just natural, you guys grow apart, or maybe you're choosing to grow and they're not. Maybe they're jealous of your success that they don't yet have. Whatever it is.
I want different things too.
And it happens all the time, but it's really hard, because part of you wants to be their friend forever. But then the boundaries are important, because as you grow and change and experience things, setting boundaries is a positive thing. And you'll find that, at least in my life, the people that are your people, your good friends, you don't even have to talk every day. You don't have to have that high maintenance friendship or relationship. You just know, like, I could call them and it's,
Agreed.
It's like as if you talked every day. They don't always try and need something from you constantly. Right. Those are the people. But it's hard to find those people because there's not a lot of them.
Agreed.
At least for me.
A dime and a dozen. I totally agree. One of the things I love about adulthood is friendships and having that feeling like I don't have to talk to you every day. I have some friends that I text that might text me once every other month or once a month. But in the day, like, I know that we still have that relationship. I know that we're still friends. And I'm not even thinking like, hey, this person doesn't like me anymore. We have an issue. It's just how adulthood works, because life gets in the way. Like, you have things that are going on, and then you get that random text. Hey, you want to go on a hike next week? Sure, I'm down. I hadn't heard from you in a month, but I'm not thinking that way. I'm just like, hey, this is what adulthood looks like. Like, you have life, things get in the way, and you are just rolling with the punches. And when you have time and you're available and you're free, then let's hang out.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, it was a hard lesson I had to learn. And it was really getting into the real estate industry where a lot of it started to kind of play out. There's going to be people that pretend to be your friend so they can take advantage of you, or because they secretly are jealous of you and they want to keep tabs on you. They don't really support, right? And then there's people that want to be you. And as hard as it is, those are not the people that you really want to bring into your circle.
Agreed.
I was talking to somebody else about this, that you have to think that the people in your life are going to either raise your temperature or lower your temperature. So do you have people in your life that are making you better, that you're on the same page with? Your goals are similar. You're all trying to make progress, because if not, eventually you're just going to kind of fall back into old habits or patterns and things like that.
Agreed. One of the things, and we started off the podcast talking about like who who as friends should you be investing in? And it's really the ones that are investing back in you. One of the biggest things that when I was kind of transitioning out of losing a lot of friends and trying to find new friendships, which really I wouldn't even say I was trying to find new friendships, like they really just came to me. One of the biggest things that I needed in this new group of friends that I was going to have in my life are people that are going to hold me accountable for my actions and let me know when I'm wrong. The other groups of friends that I had, they didn't do a very good job of that. And I not to make it, well, I would say not to make it their responsibility, but it actually is our responsibility as a friend is to hold our friends accountable, because like if I cannot come to you and say, hey, I did XYZ and you're just going to be agreeable with me, what does that do for me? That doesn't do anything for me. You're not, that's not helping me grow. That's not holding me accountable. I need people in my life who are going to put me in my place when I'm wrong. And yes, it may hurt, but I value that more than I value someone who's going to be agreeable with me.
And it's actually an indication of whether they really care or not, because if you're doing something crazy, not you, but just in general, if you're making choices that aren't the best choices for you, you're making mistakes and they don't say anything, do they want you to be better? Or are they happy that you're making these decisions and choices? And the other indication is when you have a success, are they genuinely happy for you? Are they there to celebrate you, or are they nowhere to be seen? And I've had that happen many times, and it's hurtful because you think, oh no,
because this person should be in your corner. They should be your number one fan.
And oftentimes, like the painful things that you experience that are separating who you should really keep in your life as a real friend versus just an acquaintance, it's that type of stuff, to where when you have success, they're nowhere to be seen. Well, now you can move them from one list to another. And it's painful, but it's kind of like a friendship breakup. I had a really good friend in my first or second year of real estate. And I mean, I thought we would be working together forever. And it turned out she wanted to be me. And the relationship, friendship dissolved. And, I still wish her the best, and I wish we could be friends, but it was just like, wow, you never really see that side of a person. And then there's people that they're your number one cheerleader, even though technically they're your competition still. Those are the people, that you want to bring into your life, but choosing them, finding them, it's so hard.
I've had a lot of, let me rephrase this. I've had a lot of relationships that I've had to let go, but I've only had one friendship breakup. And what I mean by that is the ones I had to let go were easy. They just weren't good for me. They were, there was a lack of boundaries, a lack of respect. So it was easy. Didn't think of it, dropped it, done. But the friendship breakup I had was like traumatic. Like it felt like I was losing a part of myself. Like it felt like I was going through a normal breakup, and I had to separate like losing a friend and a breakup, because I feel like those are two just completely different things. I feel like losing someone, I can do that all day, but a breakup is just traumatic. I had a friend, we were literally my best friend, probably the only friend that I had left. And we just did everything together. Like she even worked with me and we just had like a really, really good relationship. But the work relationship is what also tore our friendship apart. And if we didn't have the work, I won't say I don't feel like, if we didn't have the work in the dynamic, then and we were just friends, it probably would have been better. But the work literally tore our relationship apart. And we had been friends for probably 2 years. And this shows that it doesn't matter how long you've been friends with someone, as it's more about the relationship and what you both are giving each other. It's because we had only been friends for like maybe 2 to 3 years, and we just had the best relationship. My family loved her. Like we were just incredibly close, and we went through a breakup, and it was so tough. Like I literally couldn't stop thinking about it. I would literally call my sister in the middle of the night and be like, and just in tears, because I'm like, it hurts. Like it's so, it was worse. Like I've dated men, I have been through breakups, but nothing like a friendship breakup. That was like the hardest thing I probably had to go through. And I a couple months later, and sometimes we just need time. Sometimes we need space. Sometimes we need time to reflect and just think about everything and figure out what to do moving forward. So after that had happened, there was a 4-month time period in between, and I called her, and I didn't know if she was gonna answer or not because it had been like 4 months since I had spoken to her, and she answered the phone on the first ring, and I was like, "Hey, I just had a meeting with someone, and we were just talking about friendships." And I just wanted you to know, like, I know we haven't spoken in a long time, and I know that we kind of went through a breakup, but I want you to know, like, I still love you. I care about you. I think about you, and I miss you.
Mm-hmm.
And and she was like, I feel the same way. And I said, I would love to like sit down with you and let's like recap how things went, maybe how we could have done better. And I don't know if a friendship will come back out of it. Quite honestly, I'm okay if it doesn't, but I feel like we need to have that conversation and be at peace with our decision, because I feel like we ended very abruptly, that we didn't have peace. And I was like, at bare minimum, we need to meet and like have peace. She was open to it. So maybe like 3 months later, we ended up meeting, sitting down, and we were together for 4 hours at dinner, just talking and assessing what had happened and maybe things that we could have done differently. And which I'm very happy that we did. I didn't, again, neither one of us went into it thinking that we would have a friendship again, but just going in hopes of us both getting peace out of it.
Yeah.
And we ended up becoming friends afterwards, nowhere near to the same scale that we were before, but still enough that we were able to see each other, able to hang out, we're able to talk about things.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the biggest breakups I have ever went through.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing, that if somebody is able to reconnect and have boundaries, because, there was a few years back where I was about to cut everyone off. Like literally
start from scratch.
Moved across the country. I was done. And I put boundaries in place. And then some people were able to respect those boundaries. And we have been able to come back together and reconnect and be in each other's lives again. And, again, it's not to the same level, but it's still
a different relationship. Correct. Because your boundaries are being respected.
Correct. But the people that won't respect the boundaries, no.
Bye.
And that's okay. And it was a hard time because you have to realize, wow, these people really don't actually care. They
Correct.
really don't actually love me.
Correct.
But, that's okay, because the people that matter won't mind. And people that mind won't matter.
And those are the people that you want to invest in, the people who are going to support you and respect your boundaries and respect you.
And I really appreciate, we took some space. We had some healing, reconnected, we're respecting each other's boundaries, and it's much better than it was before. But, this topic I discuss with people all the time. As an adult, how do you find other women that you can really get close with, or other friends that you can really bring into your life, and they're that support, and you can be that for them? What would you say are like some things you look for in someone to where you begin to think that, okay, this person has potential? Obviously, over time, you would have to determine that, but are there certain things that you like to look out for, or certain red flags that kind of...
So, first of all, you've got to put yourself in the space to be able to connect with people that are like-minded, as like-minded like you. If I go to a club, I go to clubs all the time, but I'm never going to pick up a friend at a club.
Yeah.
Because I go every now and then, but it's just not the right scene to pick up a friend. I might pick up a party friend, but I'm not going to pick up a valuable friendship there. But if I'm surrounding myself in a room with other real estate agents, which all of my friends to this day are real estate agents, because we're all like-minded, and then that came in first, and then the other pieces kind of fell into place with the people that I connect with most based on other little things. So I think the most important thing is put yourself in a room with people that you see yourself being friends with. If you enjoy golfing, then you need to get in a women's golf club and connect that way, and then narrow it down to find someone who connects with you on other levels as well.
Yeah. That's such a good tip, to be intentional on where you put yourself. Because it's true. You think about the types, if you know what you want for your life, the type of friends you want, then generally they're going to be in those spaces of growth. What?
I will say this, because I'm also thinking about, like, if you like to travel or go to expensive restaurants or go to expensive things, then you're not going to want to put yourself in a room with, people. I wouldn't say, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this.
So if you have a certain standard,
Yes, there we go.
If you have a certain standard that you want for your life or that you enjoy, aligning yourself in the places and with the people that also have those same standards.
Correct. Because like for me, I love to travel. I love to
Mm-hmm.
travel. I love to eat at nice places. And because most of my friends are all realtors, they all have money. So I can usually go travel and hang out with those people as well. And I don't have to have that burden of, you know, traveling or dealing with someone who can't financially do it. And I've seen so many, this is actually a thing though. I've seen so many, I actually saw this recent viral TikTok that was about how these girls went on a girls trip on a vacation and one of them didn't bring any money. So the rest of the girls were pissed because that one girl that didn't bring any money they couldn't do anything because she didn't bring any money, which is okay if you don't have it. Like, I'm not shooting anyone down for not having it. That's not fine. But you should be traveling or having friends that are in your same level or same group. I don't know.
Or at least tell them beforehand, you know, like because, you know, there are times where, like with my sister, for example, I paid for stuff for her because I want her to be there because I enjoy her company so much. But to go on a friend's trip and then just be like, hey, surprise, you guys are covering. That's messed up.
But not even, no, I don't think her intentions were for them to cover anything. She just didn't think she needed anything because they were on an all-inclusive resort. But the thing is like, it's important in general who you are friends with, because you don't want to feel like you cannot do something because of the other person, whether it's financially or physically or whatever. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, a lot of the times to get to a place where you have certain standards or expectations or experiences, it's because you have made the choices and you've financially, especially, and you've done the work to be in that position.
Right.
You know, there are some exceptions to the rule where someone may inherit a bunch of money, but generally, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a certain standard, it's because you've worked for that.
Correct.
You know?
And more than likely, you should be friends with other entrepreneurs so that you guys are in that same, level, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go I don't like cardio. I don't like to go on walks. I don't like to go running. Like, I don't like to do any of that shit. So I'm not going to go make friends with a bunch of people who like to go do cardio or go on hikes, because that's just not something that I do. Yeah. So I'm not going to put myself in that position because I know that's not what I do. And I don't want to make them feel bad because I don't want to go because it's not what I want to do. But I am going to go find other groups of like our realtors friends, because everybody, like, we can easily go to a restaurant and talk about real estate the whole entire time. But if I have one friend who's not a real estate agent, they're going to feel weird and uncomfortable because we're talking about real estate that they don't know anything about. Yeah. So I think you have to be intentional about finding those groups of friends or finding those friends who are on the same level with you, whether it's intellectually, financially, emotionally, physically, all of those things. I think that's all very important when finding friends.
Yeah, and I think that's a good hack. You know, if you don't know where to start when it comes to finding your people, just literally
search for groups.
Yeah, but make a list of things you enjoy to do. What are your non-negotiables? And then kind of go from there. Because then more than likely, that's where the same people will be.
Exactly.
You know, so that's a good hack.
Like, one of my really good friends to this day is a real estate agent as well. And I met her in a real estate outing, and then we just connected that way. And then throughout our relationship and interactions, we found more things that we do very well together, like traveling. Like, she's the number one person I will travel with because we both are relaxed. We both like to relax when we travel. I do not like to go to tourists. I do not like to do touristy travels where
you're in the spa and by the pool. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Like, I will stay at the resort the entire time. I'm not going anywhere because I want to relax. I want to be comfortable. And she's the same way. But also, one of the things that I like is that when we travel, neither one of us feel obligated to be with each other 24/7. Like, I can do what I want to do. She can do what she wants to do. For some people, when you travel, they want to be like, you have to do everything together. Like, I'm not doing that shit. So I think that's another really good thing about our friendship, which I think is important, is when you find the most important thing that you connect with the most, which for me, it was real estate, then you kind of narrow it down and find the other things in between that you both end up liking and can connect over. Yeah.
And even then still, you know, I think once you do all that, you'll still run into scenarios where you think a person will be that person and they may not be.
You're 100% right.
But then that's okay, you know, because at the end of the day, you're probably only going to have a handful of really close best friends or people that you can go to. And you'll have a lot of casual acquaintances and friends, and that's okay too, you know.
I would say another really good thing that I think is very important in a friendship is communication. Being
Mm-hmm.
able to, I mean, this goes back to communication with any relationship, but I think in friendships, it's just as important as being able to express how you feel about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I know in previous relationships, like I've always had a hard time with that, but in growing up and kind of learning over time, communicating with my friends and saying, hey, I don't like that you did this. I, don't appreciate this, or I think you could have done this differently. I think it's just very, very valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
And
helps the longevity of the friendship last as well, because I'm not going to feel bitter or hateful because she did XYZ to me because I didn't say
mm-hmm.
anything, but I brought to her what this was,
Yeah.
and she was able to, assess it and apologize or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And if someone's not willing to communicate or not interested in that, then that's also a good
That's a red
indication.
flag.
Oh yeah, that's an indication, So
You're gonna have issues in the future with things if that person can't communicate. It's the same for a boyfriend girlfriend relationship.
yeah, most any relationship, professional or personal, the communication is
It's huge.
huge. And so, I think we're both still on the journey of as you continue to grow too, you change, right? So if someone isn't actively choosing to grow, then you eventually can no longer really have that level of friendship. And so aligning yourself with someone who's always working on themselves, trying to grow,
Agreed.
so you grow together instead of apart, I think that is the most important thing.
Agreed. But also finding someone who wants that growth and
Yeah.
who isn't going to be stagnant. Unless you're stagnant, then yeah, it makes sense to have a friend that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
stagnant as well. But if you're an ever so growing individual, then you have to find someone who's going to be as well, or they're going to be or they're going to make you stagnant as well.
Mm-hmm. The biggest thing that I'm trying to work on is because I'm naturally a people pleaser, and so I will see a little bit of potential in somebody, and
Invest everything into it.
and one day they will be this, but will they actually? Probably not. And so you have to realize if they're not actively taking steps for themselves, you can't force them to do
Mhm.
anything. No one will convince them to grow or change or be better if they don't want that for themselves.
Correct.
And it's a hard thing to come to terms with, but it's true. And then you end up not wasting time with people that they don't want the same things, they don't have the same priorities.
In my previous friendships, I love being able to find the qualities in people and be like, oh my gosh, you have this amazing quality. This would be perfect for you. I've seen you do this before. You could be amazing at this. And I love that. I love that about people is being able
Mm-hmm.
to be able to witness and see what amazing qualities they have and be able
Yeah.
to be like, hey, this is for you. You need to run with that. You need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to see people not take the opportunity when they're worth it.
Yeah.
That's always like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but it just makes me cringe because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, you could be doing this and this. You have the potential. You can do this. Like I've seen you do it before. You do an amazing job, but then you don't want to do it. So I've
Yeah.
had to take a seat back and realize that I cannot make someone,
No.
step into their energy or, you know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
can't make somebody do that. I can be there and be 100% supportive and want it for you all day. But if you don't want it for you, I'm gonna have to take a seat back and be like, okay, Lena, shut up. She doesn't want it.
Mhm.
At least she knows I'm there to support her and I'm 100% with her on it if she decides to do it later on. That's
Yeah.
been one of the hardest things about me is like keeping my mouth shut and being like, okay, calm down.
Mhm.
I can't force her to do it. I'm not gonna put pressure on her, even though I think she
Yeah.
could do an amazing job at it.
Yeah. And it's kind of thinking that, and a coach told me this one time, you have to do what's best for you and your life. If someone chooses to come along with you on that journey, then great. But if you're pulling people and dragging them along because they maybe have the potential, but they don't see it in themselves or they've not done the work
Something you
to
can do
get,
about it.
no. And what's going to end up
But
happening,
it's tough as the friend
it
to
is.
watch it. It's really tough.
And that's where you kind of have to layer, how deep you allow people into your life, because otherwise it's going to slow you down. If you're dragging all these people trying to help them, but then they have to also, like it's the difference between you're dragging someone who's just lying down versus someone's walking with you. But
not walking in their purpose. I mean, I guess it's not our place to determine what their purpose is, but
yeah,
it's just tough as a friend seeing someone who could be doing such amazing things with the qualities and the knowledge and the stuff that they have, and then just not want to.
yeah, I know.
No.
I think that ends our episode for this week. Thank you again for joining us. We will release a new episode every Wednesday. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We're also on YouTube and social media. Thanks again for watching.